We have a special rule when we're talking about equivalent statements, and these are called De Morgan's laws. They're a little confusing at first, but what you need to pay attention to is that they're simply giving you two ways of looking at a pair of equivalent statements. So let's say that you had the disjunction P or Q. If you were to negate that disjunction, that's the same thing as negating both P and Q. So the negation of a disjunction is the conjunction of two negations. Like I said, it's a little confusing, but it will be helpful for you to see whether or not two rules are equivalent. Now, you also could do the negation of a conjunction, and that's going to lead you to the disjunction of two negations. So the opposite of an and statement will be an opposite statement or an opposite statement. Let's take a look at this so that we can see how this would work in a truth table to show that these were actually equivalent. So when we're looking at a set of P and Q values, there are four possible combinations. They could both be true. One could be true, but one could be false. One could be false, the other true, or they could both be false. The disjunction is going to be true unless they're both false. So true or true would be a true statement. True or false would still be a true statement. False or true would be a true statement, but two false would be false. Now, taking that third column, we want to negate that third column. So that tells us that we would do the opposite truth value. We would have a false, 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 then true. So keep in mind that last column. Now let's look at the other half of that De Morgan law. We're looking at the negation. So if we took the negation of P, that's going to take our true statement to false, the next true statement to false, the false statement to true, and then next false statement to true. We do the same thing with Q. The negation of Q would be false, true, just doing the opposite truth value. Now let's make a conjunction of those two statements. When you have an and statement, they both have to be true for you to have a true statement. So false and false is false, false and true is false, true and false is false, but true and true is true. So here, look at the last column for both tables. False, 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 true, false, 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 true. That means those two statements are logically equivalent.